Welcome to The Complete Musician, creativity at its core, exploring innovative musical ideas, thoughts, and techniques for the modern musician in today's society, with your hosts, James Nagus and Drew Phillips.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Complete Musician Podcast. I'm Drew.
And I'm James.
And we barely remember how to do this.
It's been so long since we've done one of these episodes, even though we always say we're not going to date when we do it. But if you just look at this episode when it comes out and the one before it,
it's been a hot minute. And I think a lot of that is because of the pandemic.
Right.
A lot of that is we could get really deep and say that people are, in a lot of different moods right now and trying to find value and worth in a lot of what they're doing. And I think people are also just really trying to fill their time with things that make them happy.
Are you saying this podcast makes you not happy?
I mean,
so that's why we haven't done it?
I mean, I can't wait until the day that we don't have to do this anymore, but
that's true.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
That's
until our court-mandated service is up.
No, we enjoy doing this, but we've also been doing some other things that do make us happy. We've been doing some pretty creative ventures.
Oh,
lately.
I was going to say lots and lots and lots of Zoom calls. That's what makes me happy.
And
just
at least
nothing but Zoom.
Just Zoom. Well, you've been doing Zoom. I have been I don't know the word to use. I have been doing a lot of in-person things. Mm-hmm. I won't say whether that's a plus or a minus.
You've been doing the in-person Zooming. It's a new thing where you sit across from a person, directly across from them,
and talk to them
and stare at them the whole time while you're talking. And it's the new type of interaction based off of Zoom, but in person.
Right.
And sometimes you lag and you start talking really slow, let's talk really fast, and then get back to normal.
And I freeze and I become really pixelated. And the best part is that no one can see each other's mouths. That's the best part of this. So you're really guessing at what every person is saying.
Right.
Anyway, apart from that, right. Well, we have been doing some creative ventures, so we thought we'd talk about some of the creative things that we've done that have made us happy.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah, because everyone really wants to be happy, and I would hasten to say that composing and arranging and playing makes us happy.
Yeah, I think we've all done compositions and commissions that have been difficult, but I think at the end of the day, it's something that we go to, like you said, because we enjoy it, and ostensibly because it's fun, and especially if we're writing for someone or writing for something in particular. And I know that's one thing that you've done, or you have a tradition, so to speak, of doing. So want to talk about that?
Sure. And I think we've done a couple of these comp episodes before where we talk about the music we've written. So I think if we have some clips, we could probably insert them.
Oh.
Yeah?
Does technology allow this?
You're not completely technologically advanced beyond our civilization now. That's all we do.
That's true. Yeah, and I have forgotten such basic things. If I can't share my screen, then I don't know how to do it.
That's right. If it's not accessible on Microsoft Teams and doing my digital whiteboard, then I have no idea how to save a file anymore. It's done. No. Well, yes. My tradition that I do is for all of my seniors. This is my most recent composition. My seniors graduating, giving their senior recital, I always write them an original piece.
That is so nice of you.
And I accompany them on their recital, and it's just kind of a special thing we get to share. And the piece always has for, whoever written at the top. So it's kind of cool. I started it a couple of years back, and now this is actually a really special class of seniors because it's my first class since I became full-time.
Oh, nice.
So I've seen them from their freshman year to their senior year. So one of my horn players is giving her senior recital next semester, and I wrote a piece for her. It's a 2-movement piece. I think I've gotten into this habit. I really like writing 2-movement suites.
Yeah, it's nice. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
Right, exactly. You don't want to hear too much of what I write, so we end it shortly and we get out. It's perfect.
There you go.
This piece is called mesosphere because I liked that word. Yeah.
What does that mean?
And it's if I can get it right, it's the layer of the atmosphere that's between the thermosphere and the stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And I just liked the word.
It's a cool word. Yeah, for sure.
It's a really neat word. I really liked it. The first movement is called noctilucent.
Wow.
Which is an awesome word, which means, I think it means cloud shining. It's the reflection of the moon off of clouds when they shine in the evening time. So that was really cool. So it's slow and pretty, and it sounds a little bit like this. And then the second movement is called cirrus, which is like cirrus clouds. And it's a lot faster. And I really wanted to write minimalist piano because I've never tried it before. And I'm always really heavily influenced by something I'm listening to. And at the moment, I was listening to Phrygian Gates. And I really, really enjoy that piece and how intense, but also the changes in it are so subtle. So that's kind of where the company of that piece came from. And so this is what it sounds like.
I love the sounds of that piece.
So that's the last thing I wrote.
Let me ask you a question. Before we go on.
Right.
This is an interview. Didn't you know?
Oh man, I'm not prepared. Where's my coffee?
You know, for a lot of people that are getting into composition, I know one thing that we recommend is to write for people, just like you did, because it can serve as inspiration. So when you're writing for your students, do you write for them, for what you feel that their strengths are? Do you write something that will maybe help them grow their technique? Or do you just write basically whatever you want and they just have to deal with it?
Yes. To all. No, really, I do take into account what they are pretty good at, because I want the piece that I write for them, I think both of us write this way, we want it to be accessible and something that they'll enjoy working on. And in a recital, you always have your 2 or 3 heavy hitter pieces that you work on a lot. I don't want my piece to be that. I want it to be something that plays itself and they sound really good on. So I write to their strengths, but I do always include some kind of element of maybe the range or some dynamic level or some flexibility, something that they need to work on. So there is some education that goes into it.
And has anyone ever gotten a piece from you and just made a sad face and oh, okay?
Not yet. I don't know what I'd do if they would, but I think because they're so polite and they're so excited to have something written for them that I don't think they would, at least not to my face. And if they have published online blogs about how much I hate my teacher's composition for me. They're all contributing authors to it. I'm sure it's somewhere on the internet. I haven't found it yet.
Or will you consider someday writing just a piece of garbage as like a joke initially, like someone that you know really well, and like, here's your piece, and you read through it, and it's just awful. Like, it just sounds like they're missing notes all over the place because you wrote the horn part in a different key.
You mean like my first composition attempts? Yes, I will certainly pull those out and introduce that to a kid and say, this is what I wrote for you. Hope you like it.
Nice. They'll need some luck and maybe some dreams.
Yep, a lot of that. Well, speaking of writing for specific people, you have recently written something that has just been completed that was written for a specific person that you've talked about on another podcast very recently.
Yeah, so
it's really different.
My piece Visions is what I assume you're referring to, right?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's not your. It's not the more recent piece that you wrote for harmonica, water glasses, and single F horn.
No, that one's still. I'm finishing the touches on that one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Except I keep breaking the glass harmonica. So.
Oh wow! It's called Touched in the Head. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Right. No, it's for a harmonica choir. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I'm reading.
It's all
for that
aleatoric. Oh, that was a good one.
I've been working on my puns.
Ooh, I am impressed. But yeah, so Visions, it's the spiritual successor to my piece Saga, which is horn and fixed media. By fixed media, I mean just like film score. It's, synthetic sounds. It's like MIDI on steroids, whatever you want to call it.
Awesome piece. Yes.
And I wrote it with Chris Castellanos in mind because he was the one that more or less initiated the idea of, hey, let's talk about having you do another piece after he had played Saga. And then I did it. It was funded and written through a consortium through support of that. So all of the people that joined the consortium really made it happen. But the idea behind it was Saga, but more on steroids. So I thought about Chris and his playing style, and then I toned it down like 99% because if I wrote it specifically for him, no one else would be able to play it.
No, he's amazing. What a sickening player.
So
great.
And he's just a cool dude too. But so I mean, like a lot of stuff that we do, we focus on accessibility. I think that's important. And here's an interesting dilemma I want to throw your way because it's something that I went back and forth on in this piece. There are some pretty technical bits in there because, I mean, that was the purpose, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to write something with more meat on the bone because, the more advanced players, they like a challenge.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with playing something hard.
Right. Now, in the name of accessibility, there are certain parts that, like I said, they're challenging, maybe a little awkward. So I thought I started writing in a whole bunch of Ossia, however you actually say it, parts.
I have no idea.
And then my crossroads was, why am I giving people an easy out? So the question is, if you write a technical piece, do you make like a baby version, or do you leave most of the difficult stuff in and just make people rise to the challenge and get better by having to practice it? I mean, that's kind of a leading question, the way I phrased it, for sure.
You're asking me this.
I mean, it could have been rhetorical, but I think my answer is pretty clear.
Your answer is pretty clear. The only time I've ever done that is with one of the unaccompanied pieces I wrote for that student when I first started writing.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote for a non-major, and she wanted something unaccompanied written, but I left the range very moderate, and then I wrote another version for myself that I've played that had a much more expansive range, but only for myself. Other people who have played the piece, what was it called? Oh, that was the Luck of Dreams.
That was Luck of Dreams, yeah.
It was. It turned into Jest, though.
That's right.
Because Luck of Dreams is a stupid name. Sorry, anyone who liked that name.
Only a mother could love.
It was a random title generator name, and is a stupid name. But that anyone else who's played that has played the actual, like the part I wrote for myself.
That's challenging too, I will say.
It was,
but in a good way.
Fun. Yeah. But I agree with your sentiment. I don't think there's anything wrong with working at it. You're right. A lot of the music that you write lies really well on the horn. Very, very idiomatic for what we do. There's only a couple instances I can think of that doesn't.
And it's the early stuff like episodes, which is the first piece that I wrote for horn and piano, and it's super awkward, and I need to practice it myself every time I play it. Yes, I have learned from that piece, I hope.
Drive. That movement.
Yeah, and Child's Play, too. That one's also tricky.
But everything else you write is super idiomatic, so I don't think there's anything wrong with there being something a little tougher that you actually need to work to get better at. Because most of the standard pieces of our repertoire you have to work at.
Right. I think the difference comes in is whether something is difficult because it's just more challenging technically, or if it's difficult because it's non-idiomatic. I think that's where I would make a change. If it was non-idiomatic and just poorly written, then that's not a thing.
I think Adagio and Allegro is poorly written.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't play it and never will.
So I never want to play it. I don't think there's anything idiomatic about that stupid. Well, the high C is not too bad. I'm talking that Allegro is just.
It's too long. The phrases are too long. There's nowhere to breathe. That random slow down section in the Allegro makes no sense to me.
No. No.
But anyway,
we could complain about that all day. But even after looking at you've sent me a draft, I think, of it, and I don't think it's unmanageable.
It's really not.
It's really not. It maybe like a fingering, but it's not even. It's nothing weird that we haven't seen in Vern Reynolds etudes.
Yeah, it's something that, we all just want instant gratification, but it's something like if you woodshed something for 15 minutes, you could probably get it.
The other thing is it sounds cool. And I think there's a lot to be said for like, I have to work at this. Oh, wait, the payoff is this sounds really awesome. So who cares?
Right. So there actually
put in the hard work.
One instance in the piece where I did have an optional part, but then all the other ones I just took them out and be like, if this thing is too high, you'll know that. You can take it down. It's fine. Yeah. But I won't need to hold people's hands and be like, well, here's the easy way out,
Make them work for it.
But yeah, maybe we'll put in a little clip of some of the sounds right here.
That's going to be a really cool piece when everyone starts playing it. Actually, okay, interview time. Talk about the consortium and what the people that contributed get for helping to finance the piece.
Well, Drew, for the low price... No. So the reason, first of all, behind the consortium was... This is, right now, like, people just don't have money to spend on an entire piece. To commission something outright. So what Chris and I talked about doing is trying to make it as accessible as possible. So, the buy-in for this was $50, which as far as the consortium is concerned is not that much. And so what I decided was that if, people who get the consortium, who are in the consortium, so they get a copy of the piece on release date, which is going to be January 1st of 2021, assuming we get there. And
Happy New Year.
I know, right? The minute the ball hits the bottom, the piece is going out.
Boom. In your inbox.
So they get the copy of the piece, and then they have performance rights until June 1st. So my idea was that this would be a piece for the spring semester in a lot of universities that people could play, because of the continued difficulty in access to accompanists.
Right.
So a
And
lot
the
of people are
distance
doing
needed. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So this is a lot of people going electroacoustic works. So I thought this would be a good time for that. So they get performance rights of it, and then also if a teacher at a university is part of the consortium, then all of their students can play it as well instead of just them. So I kind of opened
really
it up to
cool.
that as well because I mean, it's on one hand I want to make the piece for everyone to play, and that will happen eventually. But part of the being in a consortium is that you kind of get first dibs, and then actually the consortium people are also getting another like gift, another special that they won't know until January 1st.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's a really awesome way to adapt to the times and what's needed.
Yeah, I mean it's a little like crowdsourcing. You know,
it's true.
That's actually I think literally what it is, just in the music umbrella. So
I mean, how often is this done? I don't know. I mean, think consortiums happen.
They
That's
happen
true.
in the large ensemble world a lot more, like band pieces, because I mean those band pieces for the big composers, you're talking
that's a lot
4 or
of money.
5 digits often,
Yeah.
like often 5 digits, and that's just kind of amazing to me to have a piece.
Yeah.
But then again, they're spending, you know, it's the amount of time that these things takes too.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of parts.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's cool.
And with Visions, I think, I mean, I had a total, if I opened up my work session, there's at least
It's a lot.
25, 30 different instruments.
Yeah.
And it's all, I mean, and so I write it and I program it, which is like performing it. So there's a lot of work that is involved in it, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, it sounds awesome from what I've heard. And I know it's going to go on a ton of recitals and performances and digital concerts.
Yeah. Well,
upcoming.
I hope so. And I hope so that people enjoy playing it. Like that's the whole point, is to give something for people to have motivation and fun to practice.
Well, I mean, there's only, most of what you write that I don't like playing. So I'm sure people will hate it just as equally.
I'm trying to think of what pieces I have I just hate.
I can't think of one piece that you've written that I hate.
Oh, I can think of a lot of clunkers.
That'd be a fun segment for us one time. Let's talk about the piece or like the section of a piece that we've written that we don't like.
Yes.
That we're like, I really don't like this.
Could we?
Because I know several things that I've written that you've been like, I just don't like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
no, I'm honest
like
when it comes to,
yeah,
that.
You're like, I think you should take this out. I don't like it. And then I say, well,
nope.
I don't care.
Yeah, I can think of one piece exactly right now where that happened.
Yep. And it's still there, isn't it?
It's still there.
Still there. And that would be a fun. Okay, so that's gonna go on our like to-do list.
Can we bring bad pieces of ours and then like try to get each other to buy them and call it Cash for Clunkers?
Oh, we should. That's what we should do. We should create like we should bring our pieces that we don't like or that the other doesn't like, and we have to sell it to each other. Like sell, like the opposite. If you're put on a debate team, like if it's a thing you truly believe
Shark
in, but
Tank.
you're put on the con team. Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Well, anyway, apart from that, Vision is going to be awesome. So everyone listening, when you hear it, go and get it, or if you have the rights, play it immediately.
And if not, you can wait for it.
You can wait for it. There you go. There you go.
So, what else in the creative landscape? Do you have anything else that you've done recently?
I mean, I did write a piece for a friend of ours, back when the pandemic was just starting, and it was a piece in memoriam of a pianist Jed Moss. I wrote a piece for our friend Steve Cohen. Commissioned me to write a piece, and it was in memoriam of him. I never actually met the pianist, but I've listened to him play, and he was the pianist for his first CD of Cruise Control that you wrote a piece for.
Right. Oh, he absolutely nailed the sonata. I mean, the style and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I wrote a piece for Steve to play that he's going to put on his next album called Distant Echoes, and it's actually kind of Swedish because there's two distinct parts.
Oh, wait,
the
it's
first
Swedish? Like,
it's
it's the Swedish meatball. Wait, that was like quasi-Sweden, quasi-Italian. I don't know what that was.
I didn't realize what I said.
It's like the Swedish chef.
That's too funny. Yeah, it goes bork a bork a bork in the middle of it, and you pull out the chickens, and there's the perfect.
That's really inappropriate for an in memoriam piece, Drew.
I didn't even realize I said that. It's too funny. Okay, it is like a sweet, and not sweet as in chocolate. It is like a sweet that is two movements. But they're both a taka, and the first one's really sad sounding, and then the second one's really exciting. So here's a little clip of what each of those little parts sound like. So anyway, that's the piece that I wrote for Jed. So I hope that will be a good offering and in memoriam tribute to him. Even though I never got to meet him, I hope that people will enjoy that.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And, hats off to Steve Cohen, too, for his efforts in commissioning new works.
Man, he does that all the time, and that's such a big thing for our community. So that's awesome for him, and he's going to sound fantastic on it.
Absolutely.
Anything else? What about you?
Well, considering that our last podcast was in, I think, 1998. I think that was when we did our last episode.
It came out right before Space Jam was released.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
And the last time that website was updated was the last time we uploaded
That's
it. Exactly.
Right. Oh, conspiracy. I'm trying to think. I mean, this summer I did some things. Most notably, I guess, was my etude book of the 20 modalities, but also the piece, the 9 miniatures.
Yeah.
And that was... So I don't know about you. I had a composition slump at the end of spring into summer. I just didn't feel like writing anything.
Totally.
Just with the way everything was. And so the 9 miniatures was my kind of kickstarting my composition back up. So with this, each movement is between 30 seconds and 2 minutes long.
Yeah, they're short.
So it wasn't a big investment. Like, it wasn't like, okay, time to write a concerto. It was just a little tasting of a style.
And they're also different.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, too.
They're really cool. Yeah.
And
they're really accessible. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
they're
that was the
really accessible and just fun to read through.
Yeah. And that actually works well. My former colleague, who's now at Michigan, Dave Zirkle, he played it on his first tuba recital at Michigan. And it works really well for tuba.
Sweet.
Then again, he could make anything sound good. But yeah, it was a fun little piece. And actually, it's a recommendation I have, for a lot of composers, especially people getting into it. Again, is don't set lofty goals for yourself. Don't feel like you have to set out and write a symphony. Just write a flavor, write a short idea. Don't worry about developing it. Like, that'll come later. If it's good enough, if you plant that seed, maybe it'll grow into a tree, but maybe it'll be a bonsai, right?
hold on. I'm getting major Jeff O'Girl vibes here with all of these like imagery things, planting trees and like bonsais. Wait a minute, hold on. This is like you are channeling Jeff right now.
Well, where's my glass of wine?
Like you have to grow a lot.
I need to live on this earth for another 250 years.
And get really fluent at jazz guitar.
Yes, and apparently recently, all of the Nordic languages.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's his. That was one of his COVID hobbies. Was I guess learning Norwegian, because of course, so he could watch all the Norwegian soap operas.
Oh, of course. That sounds like something he'd do. Well, that's cool. Yeah, those 9 miniatures are really, really cool. So if you don't know those, check those out. We should insert a few sound clips of them.
Okay, here's a sound clip.
So there were 9 sound clips from the 9 miniatures. I hope you really enjoyed it and got a real flavor of what each movement has to offer.
I really tried to, when I wrote these, make it feel like time just flows by really fast. Like, so that when you look back, it's just like little snippets of music.
I think you accomplished that, and I think our listeners also got that too.
Well, good.
Fantastic. There were a couple other projects I had, but one that you and I both did together that I don't think I've talked about yet is I did a fun arrangement.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, over was it over the summer?
I
think it was the summer.
I have no idea. Time is a concept that is lost to me.
That's true.
I think it was though, yeah.
I think it was the summer. Oh yes, it was, because I got my Switch. I got the Nintendo Switch, and I am a big fan of Paper Mario. And so the day that the Origami King came out, I downloaded it and I played it just incessantly because it's a great game. But the theme struck me so, it was such a good theme. And so I arranged it for 2 horns and piano.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And you did,
we played it.
You performed the piano part as well, right?
I did. And that's on YouTube if you want to go listen to it. I think it turned out really gorgeous. It's a really well-written theme.
And did you kind of do it rhapsodically? I forget. Like, did you take the melody and then just kind of elaborate on it and do little variations, or how did you arrange it?
Okay. Actually, the answers to all of your questions about it can be found in this past horn call, because I wrote an article about it. I wrote an article about how I did that arrangement and like the literal step-by-step process I went through, in which I mapped it out and then did like the key and then got the music and then did the transcribing and all that kind of stuff. I did do it by ear completely.
Nice.
But no, it does trade the melody around because the piano part to the original is incredibly difficult. And I said, nope, can't do all of that. So I gave some of the melody to the horns, but then I did invent some horn counter melodies that are not in the original theme that I think sounded pretty cool. I also, because it was during the COVID times that, I'll be honest, practicing motivation was pretty low. And that was actually a big motivator why I did this, is I just wanted to do something fun. I did make both horns, so both of us played together the whole time. And there were no moments where there was solo instrument. It was just 2 horns, not 2 horns, 2 horns,
right.
Not 2 horns. But that's a lot more comfortable to play with another person. So that's really what influenced that piece. But it sounded like this. that's some creative stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
To stave off the boredom.
We'd love to know what all y'all been up to. Any creative activities either you've done or things that you're planning to do. So if you have any ideas or any things you want to share, let us know. Send us an email or, hit us up on Facebook, I guess. I don't know if you're friends with us.
We have a Facebook page that, it's really strange. It's consistently getting more and more followers and likes, but we haven't posted since Halloween of 2019.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We are the worst at social media.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing, if you go on social media for us right now, what you'd find is pictures of Colton, which is James.
That's all I post about.
Or pictures of my workouts.
Yep.
That's it. Because I've converted my page into a fitness page. So that's like all.
I mean, you inspire people and I make people smile.
Colton provides so much joy.
Yes.
To so many people.
Which is the best. See, these are the best uses for social media platforms. Honestly.
Exactly. Inspiration and joy. That's all we do. Anyway, yes, please get in contact with us. We would love to hear from you. We have an email, which, if I'm not mistaken, because we haven't said it in so long, I might have forgotten it. I believe it's cormotohorn@gmail.com.
That's correct. It is.
Awesome. And we have a website.
Cormotohorn.com.
Yes, that's what it is. And
wait, right?
Uh-oh. Hold.
No, it is. It is. I have it open right here in front of me. That is our website. So go check out all the things we can do. Since it's Christmas time and we're going to be releasing this, I do want to draw your attention to the fact that James arranged an awesome version for two horns and media of "O Holy Night" that we performed. It's pretty nice. Actually, that's what we should use as the outro music for this. Oh, that would be nice. It should be "O Holy Night." We'll just play our whole recording of it. Okay, perfect. Done. Well, okay. Thanks for listening. And thanks for listening. Oh, one more thing. So we talk about music on this podcast. We do have another podcast that we started, I think, since. Yes, that's why we haven't done any Complete Musicians. It's because we got on a roll with this new podcast. So we got a new podcast where we don't talk about music. We only talk about music occasionally, but it is the best stream of consciousness and chat with your two best friends that you never knew you needed until you listen. And it's called Drew and James Talk About Everything, because we talk about everything. Go listen to that. It's fun. Just had a frog in my throat. Good old it. Sorry. My ears almost exploded. I'm trying to hold that. Okay, ready? Yes. So go listen to that. You'll enjoy it. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back with more podcasts soon. Bye.